We're counting down to the scariest movie moment of all time.
I and my studio did not design scary dinosaurs. We designed real dinosaurs.
I believed those dinosaurs were real. You know, I know they're not, and yet somehow that movie put it in my mind that humans can coexist with dinosaurs.
We built a Tyrannosaurus Rex that was 40 feet long from the tip of his nose to the tip of his tail, that weighed 18,000 pounds, 9 tons, had something like 350 horsepower, was extremely powerful, and it could act.
They're dinosaurs. We're not supposed to know what they look like, but we do.
I love that the raptors end up being the scariest part because they're sort of slimy, you know, they work in groups and they have calls to one another. It's so much creepier when something's intelligent and evil.
They are like the dino dynamic duo.
They were the meat eaters. They were without conscience. These were the sharks of Jurassic Park. These were not, well, maybe we can talk to him. These guys are going to kill you.
Pacific Heights is every yuppie's dream. Hey, let's me and my girlfriend go and buy a little fixer-upper. This one's in San Francisco. We'll fix it up into a nice house. We'll live in it and we'll rent out a couple rooms to people, make some money. It'll be great.
But there's this tenant, you know, on the first floor, and he gets weirder by the moment.
He moves in, puts bolts and locks on the door, and goes to work.
Michael Keaton is almost like a cancer, destroying their whole lives. And the worst part is that everything that he does makes it seem like it's their fault.
And he goes crazy in a way that he's using the law to his benefit until finally it gets to a point that they're literally trying to kill him.
There's nothing you can do. They try, they call the police, there's nothing, they get a lawyer, there's nothing they can do. He's always one step ahead of them.
What kind of a person would let roaches go in their own apartment?
Insane.
Melanie Griffith has the best, like, female revenge. She goes into his life and does some great private investigating, by the way, on her own, and really messes with him. But, unfortunately, Carter Hayes comes back into the picture.
You crossed the line. You're in my room. You're in my private thing. You and your boyfriend. You insulted my intelligence. You got into my area. What are you doing?
I was scared to death of my sister's dolls as a little kid. The Talking Tina was a show that had a very profound impact on me. It really messed me up. And my sister had all of her dolls in her bedroom with her nightlight underneath it, and it was like a flashlight underneath these faces. And I just said, see if there are any good stories that we could do on dolls.
My father had worked in marketing and advertising, and so as a kid I was exposed to all kinds of marketing campaigns, and that fascinated me, and I wanted to write something about how advertising affected children.
Don was very influenced by the fact that Madison Avenue was programming these dolls to be your best friend.
So the whole killer doll device, you know, which of course had been used before, but I realized that it had never been done in such a way that you could treat the doll as a full-fledged character.
Chucky, child's play. What child in their right mind would want to play with a doll that looks like Chucky.
My son, when he was a little boy, saw the poster for Child's Play, and that gave nightmares.
Brad Dourif does the voice of Chucky, and Brad's great. He's this amazing Oscar-nominated actor. He does the voice like Jack Nicholson. Chucky, I'm gonna kill you.
The animatronics were amazing in that. You just see him scurrying like a rat. That doll, that could scare the hell out of anybody.
There's a presumed innocence with small things, and then when they turn on you, you know.
Even though he was all but how many inches tall, he was the scariest, meanest, most vicious, violent head doll.
I said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy slut! To jump with me!
Before he was more of a loner, and I think he's mellowed now, having a wife and a kid, but he's still very creative in his methods of killing people.
Village of the Damned is a real cool film. It came out in 1960, black and white, British. You see it now and you realize there's some really hysterically funny things about it. George Sanders is maybe the worst father anybody has ever seen in your life, the most unfeeling father. And the Barbara Shelley as the mother has nothing to do with the children. It's kind of hilarious.
We see echoes of Village of the Damned in a lot of later pictures, everything from Rosemary's Baby to The Omen, but Village of the Damned was there first.
It's a great idea to think of kids turning on adults and making them do things.
There's something about scary kids that is unsettling, because it's like you create them and then they kill you.
George Sanders is trying to create a mental block. The children can read his mind, and he's just imagining a brick wall. Really gone, because you see their glowing eyes in the rubble and the wreckage.
Shallow Grave was really well done, also because the setup is so effective.
Three fairly ordinary and fairly unlikable people take on a new flatmate who promptly drops dead, leaving them with a suitcase full of money. And they then have a choice. What do? Do they hand the money in to the police, or do they get rid of the corpse and keep the money?
Cabin Fever took a little from that, in that you think you know who your friends are, but you really don't.
When he's forced to cut that body open and like saw through bone.
Finished. But not quite. Is that going to be deep enough? Don't worry about that. Is this necessary? Yes. Now come on, all or nothing.
And it's a marvelous scene, because what Danny Boyle does is he absolutely encapsulates the horror of selling your soul to the devil.
Night of the Hunter is a great film, directed by Charles Lawton. I think the only thing he's ever directed. And just from a stylistic standpoint, it's brilliant.
The fact that there are children involved, and there are children at risk and being threatened, is part of what gives the film its juice.
It's like a tale told around a campfire to kids, a cautionary tale.
That movie mainly works because Robert Mitchum is such a good psychopath.
They made him the embodiment of evil just in how they dressed him and how he moved. If you watch Robert Mitchum, I mean, he is ramrod straight.
With a flick knife in his pocket, which is constantly emerging through his jacket whenever he sees a loose woman who he wants to kill off. And he does, of course, eventually kill off Shelley Winters, although because she won't tell him where the loot from the robbery is. And he then goes after the children.
It's not my doll! It's not my doll!
The doll! Why, sure. Last place anybody think to look.
It's the first true bogeyman of the cinema. He actually is seen leaping up the stairs in a wholly inhuman fashion.
Coming up, Wicked Witches and Monkey